Researchers at Yale showed teachers this video clip of 4 preschool students. Their instructions: look for misbehavior and click when you see it. The study was kind of deceptive. None of the kids in the video actually misbehaved. The researchers were using eye tracking software. What they actually wanted to study was who the teachers were watching. Both Black and white teachers spent significantly more time watching the Black boy in the video. This study showed that even preschool teachers can treat kids differently based on their race without even realizing it.
Since you got your degree and you know every fucking thing.
Really know if this is my last time, but what I know is I'm feeling just fine. My life is like a red carpet, and I'm feeling like the richest millionaire. This is my local mayor, and I'm the biggest star around here.
What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Subscribe or die trying. You see the thumbnail. More importantly, you saw the clip. The racism starts early. One of the reasons I want to talk about stuff like this is because you have people who act like they don't know this stuff, and you have people who genuinely aren't around this type of stuff, so it's a surprise to them. And then you have people who are the perpetrators of this type of stuff. Like, for instance, you've seen a news story around about I think it's more than one nurse now, with the nurse that was breaking the Black baby's bones in the hospital. The newborns, they were just born and she was breaking their bones, right? That ain't like, nurses harming Black babies ain't new. Even in this social media era. But this is something that people have figured for years. That's part of the the ideology of having a home birth, because you don't trust these people. You don't trust the doctor's offices. The mother's dying, the Black mother's dying at a higher rate in labor. It's that. But let me get to the kids part. Like, the kids know something's wrong at a certain point. In the beginning, they're just kids playing. And, we've always said racism is taught. So the kids start figuring it out, especially if you're a Black kid, you start figuring it out earlier. Like, why am my kid put over? You're like, okay, I'm playing, I'm minding my business, I'm having a good time, whatever. But then you start realizing, you start getting sectioned off. And then, as this study was talking about, all of the teachers just had to watch the Black boy. I want to say he's a Black lady that was a teacher. Just, they spent more time watching and hovering. And, they've had the numerous studies about grade school, high school, where Black boys in particular got harsher penalties than anybody else. So if it's zero tolerance at the school, it's just zero tolerance with Black boys. It's really not zero tolerance with everybody, because that's not how it works. And people don't, for the most part, people don't see their bias, right? Now, this is where it gets tricky, because then when you have teenagers being teenagers, young adults not trusting of, see, people think it's just people not trusting a system. Yeah, it's that, but we've seen so many people from an early age do shady stuff that, you know, like I tell my family and friends that I'm glad I got a American name, right? Because if I ordered some food, um, you're not gonna. I don't expect somebody to spit in it, because they may think by my name I'm white. It's just so average. It's just such a regular name. So, but if I had a different name that would consider more hood, I wouldn't order stuff online. I wouldn't order food. I don't do DoorDash anyways, but I wouldn't even. I always pick up food just because of that. I order it and pick it up. I don't even want people to drop it off, but I know for a fact, people are spitting your stuff. Oh, yeah. They have an attitude. They do that type of stuff. So it's that. You're a kid and you're interacting with people. I think I told a story before. Years ago, I was in high school. We went to a football camp, and we had some roommates that were Amish. So they got well, they didn't get arrested. The cops caught them with weed on them. So like a gram under an ounce. You know how a felony is an ounce, and if you have a gram under that, it's a misdemeanor. So they were Amish kids, and they got caught with weed. They was busted by the cops at the camp, and they just came back chuckling like, it's not a big deal. And like, and they were like, yeah, that happens all the time. And you looking all the time, huh? Like, and it's that, and what happened to you guys? And it's like, dog, we'd be in jail. We would be in jail. Like, and they're like, but they were Amish, so it was like, yeah, dog, we'd be in jail. Y'all get away with that because y'all white. So, I've been in a situation in classrooms where you had a teacher who had racism or prejudice and bias, and she would, I mean, it's these years, but she wouldn't grade the black boys' papers. So if everybody got a B, we got a C. You get what I'm saying? I caught the lady, busted out or whatever, but whatever. It's the same thing with so school, same thing with jobs and whatnot. I've been a young man working in jobs, and you know the hierarchy of the job, and you go, and I've seen people get promotions from my work. You get what I'm saying? That weren't black. You know, weren't me. Forget just I'm black, but they weren't other black people. Is I do all of this work, they don't do anything. So when my days off come, they just let it go. Then I gotta fix it, and then they get a promotion for it. Man, it's so nice. You did a good job. I'm like, wait, what? Okay, interesting. Or the thing where you work in a place and they want to put you in the back to the side somewhere, like away from everybody. They want you to do all this extra stuff, but they don't want nobody to see you doing all this extra stuff because it's supposed to look like it's a nice ran ship by a bunch of non-black people. And it's like, oh, okay, whatever. So, I went to HBCU, so I can't say I wound up going to HBCU too. So I can't speak for the one in college, even though I have people who went to predominantly white institutions, and some of them had drug problems. Some of them lost their minds, some of them just transferred, like, I can't do this, because everywhere you go, it's an issue. You get what I'm saying? Everywhere you go, it's an issue. And the problem with that is it's a thing where people try to tell you that you're using race as an issue for everything while they're using race as an issue for everything. And that's why I say it gets tricky, because people go, I remember I got pulled over once for a rolling stop, and I'm looking at the cop, and I'm like, bruh, stop it. Not because I didn't do a rolling stop, but because it was like an entrance to get on a feeder road. You know what I'm saying? So where people go straight, it veers off to the right. So everybody was basically doing a rolling stop. It was traffic. So I'm looking at everybody doing a rolling stop, and there's a cop just sitting there, and everybody's doing a rolling stop. 3 cars in a row do a rolling stop. I do the same rolling stop, whoop, 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 and I just looked at him and I said, man, here we go. I told you, yeah, it's the black thing. He's like, don't you bring race up. And I'm looking like, maybe you don't understand something, but yeah, I can bring race up because I can see the race of the other people in the other cars. It's not like you looking at us from behind and you can't see the race. I can see, you can see the race of people because you're by the front of the car. And the reason I can see the race of the people because when it turns, you can see the people in the front of the car. And I'm like, man, it's some bull. So then people go, oh, it's not an issue. And it's like, it is an issue. But everybody's watching. Same thing. I used to, have conversations with people about people's business practices. And people don't want to hear it, but you know, people's business practices, if you go to buy a car, your credit scores. Yeah, but you might have a good credit score and you're supposed to get a good deal, but if you go to the wrong place, what they'll do is, before people could haggle, they'll jack up the price of the car for you. Oh, you got good credit, but let's jack up the price of the car. See, the car was $20,000, but even with your good credit, now it's $24,000, and then it's like, wait a minute, dog. Wait a minute. You go in businesses and they have these items of this price, and then when you get there, they change the price on you. And then you might talk to people who went to the same business. Oh, they gave me a great deal. They went down to this. I'm like, what? I remember going to a furniture store, 2 furniture stores. One had the thing, an advertisement. I was like, give me this. This is what I want, this advertisement. They gave me something completely different. I'm like, you mother. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, whatever. And the second time it happened, I was at a different place. And I ordered something and they gave me what I asked for, but it was the wrong color. And I was like, yo, I didn't order this when I ordered that one. So I had to bring it back. And they were acting upset. And I'm like, yo, even on your advertisements, it only has these 2 colors. You gave me something, a color that y'all don't even say y'all sell. But it was an attitude. You get what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is, like, people watch us all the time. And I use the story all the time when I talk about I went to the mall and the security guard would stop me. He's a cool dude. And he's like, you're just making sure you're not stealing nothing. And I'd be like, and I told him, I said, listen, if I wanted to steal something, I would actually have some white people stealing while you watching me, because I know you watching me. And that's a known thing. Like, because I knew plenty of white people who were kleptos, just stealing. They go places, just steal stuff. And it's like, and it wasn't really stealing by being a klepto. That was the interesting part, because I knew they weren't really being watched. The stealing that used to crack me up was when they would steal and white people would be a cashier or something. Security, they'll know that they're stealing. They see them stealing. They'll be like, oh, just take 2 of those. And they walk out and be like, what the So it becomes an issue. And let me add something to that. Because the other thing is this. As you get older, I don't know why this is, but people approach you with their racism and passive aggressive stuff when they're in a particular position, and they want you to go off on them. They're doing something that warrants you going off on them, but they want you to go off on them so they can go, oh my God, what's going on? I'm the victim. Oh, they just screaming. It's like, oh, here we go. You go in. You go in. If you carry cash, I had this thing where if I go somewhere and I have a 20 and I give a cashier a 20, they'll give me cash back like I gave them a 10. And then we got to get into an argument and fight. And see, sometimes people don't realize it's just not where, because you don't really do that anymore because people use their cars more often now. Y'all think people just had that plexiglass in the quote unquote hood because people were going to get robbed all the time. No, what was happening was people was getting robbed. It was violent. That's true. But people reach over there and yank the person over the counter, like, stop playing. Stop, you're not gonna steal from me. And people use that as saying it was robbery. And it's like, no, you stole from me and now you want to play victim. So it was that type of stuff that was going on. So the watching it starts at an early age, and we grow to, the watching and the antagonizing starts at an early age. That's what I was trying to say. So teachers, sometimes coaches, because that's a thing too. In coaching, they would have these coaches that were just highly disrespectful. Just the kids, I'm trying to teach them discipline and strength. It was, you knew the difference between a coach who was trying to coach you up hard and pause, I guess, and a coach who was just racist and he just wanted to take out all his frustrations on you. We knew the difference. Oh, if he acts if he responds, oh, he's just not a good kid. No, no, no. Mm-mm. We're not doing that one. So, and you see this over and over and over and over again, where people add extra insult to stuff. Like I said, before I go, like I had this thing where I went to court for a ticket, and I had my work uniform, and all that on. And when I walked in, I had a hat on because I didn't know where the court. I knew I was at the courthouse, but I'm walking, looking. So then I'll get to the right place. I'm walking in, and before I could take my hat off, because I'm trying to make sure I'm in the right place, judge rips into me, da da da, and I'm like, okay, didn't say nothing. And then before I get to the judge, it's an older white guy, jeans, like polo shirt, t-shirt, whatever it was, and a hat, sitting in court, cussing the judge out. Just cussing the judge out, cussing in the court, nothing. And I'm just looking like, well, y'all so passive aggressive, So we've seen the implementation of the rules where they're more strict with us than anybody, and they're watching us more than anybody with a lot of things. I've seen people steal from the job like that. They so busy watching you on the job, they getting defrauded by these other people, and nobody says a word. But you tell me what you think, man. I'm done. It's a long video, so like, share, subscribe, or die trying. Catch you on the next one. Peace.
All I ask is when you lay your head on that pillow at night, know I gave you everything I had.